You've seen it happen. The barrage lands, the smoke clears, and then movement. Something large. Something that has absorbed everything you threw at it and is still closing the distance. There's a specific kind of dread that comes with realizing sheer volume isn't working. That the math you were relying on has stopped adding up. That your team is looking at each other with the unspoken question of what do we do now? Super Earth has an answer for that moment. It isn't subtle, it isn't cheap, and it won't be available again for a good while. But it will work. One shot from low orbit with the kind of accuracy that most weapons in this war don't even bother attempting. The Orbital Railcannon Strike was built for exactly this moment. The Orbital Railcannon fires a 100mm kinetic slug. Weighing only 5 kilograms, it's smaller than a howitzer shell, which weighs nearly 8 times more. But in the vacuum of space, mass is secondary to velocity, and the electromagnetic rails of the Class 6 series super destroyer accelerate that slug to 14,000 meters per second before it even touches the atmosphere. It enters at Mach 40. At that kind of speed, air doesn't even move out of the way. It combusts. There is no firing arc, no drift. The round doesn't hit its target. It erases the space the target was occupying. 7,500 points of damage, standard and durable alike. Level 7 armor penetration, anti-tank 3. The angle of entry to whatever it hits is irrelevant. The rail cannon does not bounce, it will not deflect, it transits. This is unsurprising considering it's delivering the equivalent of 117 kilograms or 0.1 tons of TNT. Though it doesn't blow up the target so much as it liquefies and punches through everything in its path. Despite all of that, the blast radius is a tight 2.5 meters. Not a carpet bomb, but a scalpel. The shockwave extends 10 meters and delivers 60 points of stagger force, which is enough to stop a charger dead in its tracks. It will take you some time to unlock it if you're just starting out, as it does have a level 20 requirement and a cost of 10,000 requisition slips. There are very few enemies in the current war that can survive a direct hit. It'll take down a Bile Titan, a Charger, a Hulk, a tank, a Harvester. The exceptions are short. The Factory Strider, which will instead just lose its cannon turret but keep walking. The Hive Lord, and the Leviathan. The Harvester may or may not go down, depending on one caveat. Its shield will absorb the shot entirely if you haven't stripped it of it first. So drop the shield, then throw the beacon. For everything else though, one shot is enough. The call-in time is 0 seconds. There is no delay between the beacon hitting the ground and the targeting sequence beginning. A fast-moving target simply doesn't have time to clear the area, which is what makes the rail cannon unlike anything else in the orbital lineup. It does mean, though, that you don't get to choose what it locks onto. The system automatically selects the largest, most heavily armored target in the area, not necessarily the most dangerous one. In mixed groups, that distinction matters more than you think. Scout Striders can easily be selected over Hulks. When there are no valid enemies nearby, the system falls back to structures. Bug holes, fabricators, spore spewers, and if nothing qualifies, it fires at the beacon coordinates directly. Detector towers and stratagem jammers can't normally be targeted, but clear the area within 25 meters of your beacon, and the system has nothing to lock onto, so it will fire where you threw it. As I said, the rail cannon carries no explosive charge, which makes it one of the safer orbitals to use near teammates. There's no damaging blast radius to manage. In megacities though, the destroyer may need some time to reposition for line of sight, adding a small delay the weapon doesn't normally carry. Under standard conditions, the gap between the beacon landing and the target being gone is very short. But in cities, you of course have to worry about buildings being in between the target and your ship. The cooldown is 180 seconds, 3 full minutes where it simply isn't available, and everything else you have has to cover for it. Ship modules can help you close that gap. Morale augmentation brings it down to around 170 seconds, and 0G breach loading shaves off another 9. With all upgrades unlocked, you're looking at roughly 154 seconds, or 2.5 minutes instead of the usual 3. Still a long wait, but a shorter one. Whether that intense time trade-off works for you depends on the mission. On maps where heavy targets are rare and manageable by other means, the cooldown can be too punishing. On missions where armored threats arrive in a steady stream, it can earn a slot back quickly. On hard and extreme specifically, it works best as a guarantee. Something you hold in reserve for the moment a Bile Titan shows up, when your team is scattered and everything else is running dry. You throw the beacon, the ship handles it, and you move on. There are faster options, of course. The Precision Strike will handle a Bile Titan too, and it does so on only a 90-second cooldown. But some stratagems you call in because they're efficient. The rail cannon you call in because you just want that thing gone, completely, and with no follow-up required, and that is worth something. What you build around it matters just as much, of course. The Orbital Gatling Barrage pairs naturally. A 70-second cooldown means it cycles 2 times before the rail cannon is back, covering the medium enemy pressure that builds up in between. There are also Eagle stratagems that handle grouped targets and objectives the rail cannon's precise targeting can't address. Against automatons specifically, you may want a support weapon that handles medium armor. The autocannon, the quasar cannon, the recoilless rifle, anything that lets you hold the rail cannon for the largest threats rather than burning it on hulks or other medium armored enemies that don't need it. The pattern across every effective loadout is the same. Build for eliminating volume around it, and let the rail cannon handle the exceptions. It's not a complicated stratagem. In fact, it's one of the easiest in the game. Because of that, it doesn't reward creativity. What it does reward is knowing when to use it, and having the patience to hold it until the emergency moment arrives. When you see the target, you throw the beacon, the ship fires. And that's all that this needs to be. I hope you enjoyed this video. The reception to my last Helldivers Xbox Ahoy inspired video was overwhelming. I appreciate it so much. Again, if you don't know, I don't min-max on Helldivers and I don't play the super high difficulties. I only play extreme and hard, and as a result, I had to come up with a different way to approach these. And I think this is a really fun combination of information, guide content, and lore. And I definitely plan on doing more and potentially expanding to other games. So if there's anything that you think I should cover in Helldivers or otherwise, definitely let me know. I'm super interested in keeping these going. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment that helps with engagement. YouTube loves that stuff. Use your hype points. I don't know what those are, but for the people who did it on my previous video, thank you so much. You can even do a super thanks to, tip the video essentially, which even $1 is way more than you would ever normally give me just from watching my videos. Currently between jobs, so any kind of support is appreciated. don't even have to monetarily support. Again, just leave a comment, and that's more than enough. For now, though, I think that's it. I'll see you next time.